Today we have a very important guest to speak to us on the topic of career path in finance and commerce. Uh, I'm sure most of you like trekking, and often when we go trekking, probably you don't know the rules of trekking. Probably some of us, when we go trekking, we just follow the path, we see how everyone goes about, and we just follow through when everyone goes by. But when it comes to your career path, or when it comes to your journey of the corporate ladder, when you go on the corporate ladder, many a times you might go wrong. It's always good to get some advice, some guidance from someone who's already gone in front of us and already has proven himself. And today we have Mr. Abraham George, who is a chartered accountant. He started his career in Deloitte in Pune and Mumbai, and further on went on to KPMG in Bahrain 6 years back, and he started his practice in audit and advisory. Presently, he's working as a partner with Thompson and Associates, which is a corporate consulting firm in Bahrain, in the advisory and consulting practice. He's worked with numerous kinds of projects, different assignments in audit and different areas. I'm not taking a lot of time. Presently, Abraham is also an executive member of the of the Bahrain chapter for the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Today, he will be handling the main session, after which we'll have a Q&A session. But before the Q&A session, we will have two more people speaking to us who are our own students. One is Kokila and one is Sharon. Kokila is presently working with FedEx Express, and Sharon is working with one of the big four, which is with EY, working in the valuation department. So they will be also sharing their journey in a short at the end of the session also. So I would hand over the session today for the next probably 20-25 minutes to Abraham, sir. And following, if there's any questions, please feel to use the chat and we'll take in your questions. Depending on the kind of questions, we'll allocate who needs to answer that question. And we will also hear from Kokila and with Sharon. Over to you, Abraham, sir.
Hi, good evening to everybody in India. It's around 4:30 p.m. here, and I am really delighted to see so many participants here. And it brings me back to my college days, with all the friends and students and the classroom sessions. I am really delighted to see all of you over here, though I can't see anybody's faces, but still I know all of you are here. And thank you so much, Gabby, for this opportunity to talk to all my friends out here. So I've got a small presentation, which I'll just share my screen, and then without much ado, I'll just go ahead. Okay, Gabby?
Sure.
Okay, can you see my screen? Is it clear?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the topic before the house is career path in commerce and finance. So a lot of us, when we are in our, right after our 10th standard, people want to talk about engineering, people want to talk about medicine. But when it comes to commerce, a lot of people think that, okay, we are going to either think about MBA in finance or chartered accountancy. A lot of people don't want to take up chartered accountancy because it's difficult. And then people are at crossroads as to what to do, and because they're not aware of so many things that the commerce field has got to offer. So I've just made a small presentation regarding my journey and how it has been all these years. And let me tell you, I'm not very old. So I cannot even say that, I have crossed into the senior position in a career like what people do when they reach their 50s and late 40s. So I think I can relate to what a lot of you are going through at this age, because even I have gone through all that. So I'll just put together a few of my thoughts, which could be of some help to all of you. This small path that I took, I decided to be a chartered accountant when I was in my 5th standard. At that time, I didn't even know what chartered accountancy is. I just stumbled across an old CIA book, which my father's elder brother had used when I was in Kerala for one of my vacations. And I was like, wow, this looks interesting. I didn't understand anything, but I was like, yeah, I think I should do something on these lines. Then I realized everybody's getting into software engineering. I want to do software engineering, But then the dot-com burst happened in the year 2000 and everybody started coming back from the US. Then I was like, no, I don't want to. I'd rather stick to being a CA. So fast forward to my 10th standard, and back in the day in Maharashtra, after your 10th standard, you had to leave your school for your 11th and 12th to a college, because 11th and 12th back in those days was not part of your school. After 10th, you don't have 11th and 12th. You have to move to another college where the 11th and 12th is. So it's a big deal. So I wanted to get into the best college in Maharashtra for commerce, okay, where I studied. And of course, best college means the best students in the district come over there. In fact, half of the college did chartered accountancy over there, and all of them are at least at director levels at big fours or big consulting companies now, senior managers as well. So had big college dreams. I made it. I got into that college. Fun and Frolic started, and then my articleship started after I cleared my foundation level in CA. Once I was at that level is when the heat started, because I had to juggle between my second year BCom, articleship, and my CA classes as well. So I was, multitasking left and right. My day used to start at almost 5:30 in the morning. I was riding my bike almost 20 kilometers, going to my CA class, then college. I had to choose which subjects to attend in college because I had to come back, do my articleship. Then the evening again, I should go 20 kilometers to my class, and I should come back at 11 o'clock at night. This carried on. I kind of didn't have the college life I wanted because all my time went in classes, which I had to. There was no option. I had to work for it. So first year of my articleship, I was doing pure manufacturing company accounts, core manufacturing. Pune is like the hub, one of the hubs of manufacturing in Maharashtra. So I was doing all manufacturing. Second and third year, I took a shift to another firm where the primary focus was taxation. So second and third year of my articleship, I did taxation. And by the time I was done, in my third year of articleship, I realized I'm never going to do tax again, because there's so much. I thought it could stifle my mobility to travel outside India, or, I had those initial thought processes. Now, this is an important thing that I'm saying here. You'll hear more about it later on. Later on, I moved to, I became a chartered accountant, and I moved to Deloitte internal audit and I started my practice over there for the first time. Mind you, I never had internal audit experience in my articleship, but I started my career over there. Why? Because in my course, I understood what was internal audit. Okay. And I was learning on the job. 3 years of internal audit, it took me across India, different type of companies, chemical companies, pharmacy companies, IT companies, auditing them, length and breadth of India, I was going to North India, Gujarat, Karnataka, coal mine, iron ore mine, different places. It was a great experience. After that, I moved to KPMG in Bahrain, where I started working on advisory practice. Now, mind you, how my career is taking a different color at different levels. I started with my articleship where I was doing manufacturing company accounts, pure accounts, nothing else, accounts, audit, tax audits, statutory audits. Second and third year, no audits, but only tax returns, VAT returns. Okay. After that, internal audit, learning more about processes. And internal audit is a place where I got my mastery over Microsoft Excel. Because internal audit is a job which makes you analyze. From there, I moved to advisory. Now, advisory is made to order. The client has got a problem and the client wants you to solve that problem. Now, my experience from my first year of articleship till the date of Deloitte. Actually, I applied it in my KPMG days. And from KPMG, I resigned and I have a family business here in Bahrain, which is into consulting, legal. So I set up my own consulting arm within the same firm and I started an advisory practice over here. However, in 2019, VAT was introduced in Bahrain. I decided more than 10 years ago, I will never do taxes. I don't want to do taxes. But when VAT was introduced in Bahrain, a lot of people didn't have any clue about what the tax is about. But for me, it was like fish to water. I didn't even have to read the act because I knew what is going to be there in the act. By logic of the legislation, I knew what is going to be there. And after that knowledge is when I started reading the act and I was like, yes, this is what I guessed. This is what I guessed. This is what I guess is going to happen. And you understand how every facet of life experience actually comes into practice at some stage in your life. Nothing goes waste. And that is something that was very important for me. It was a life learning lesson. And that is what is built me where I am today, and which is going to drive me again in future every single day what I am learning. I don't know. The last point I've written is what next. I don't know what is next, but everything that I am carrying right now with me definitely is going to take me ahead in my journey. Now, coming to talk about the career options that people have when you're doing your commerce and non-science background. These are the type of conventional and unconventional fields that you can expect to work in: statutory audit, internal audit, taxation, secretarial practices and compliances, finance, there's books of accounts, investment banking and mergers and acquisition, valuations. I think somebody's going to talk about valuations today. Portfolio management. What is portfolio management? State Bank of India mutual fund. You put your money in State Bank of India mutual fund. What does that mutual fund do? That mutual fund invests money in some securities, debt instruments. But who invests? Who invests? Who decides to invest? How much to invest? How long to invest for? That is done by a portfolio manager. It's a very risky job. It's a very high paying job, and it's a very technical job. You have to be technically very alert, and you have to be into that field. You cannot switch fields once you enter into that, because one, the pay is so good that you will not want to switch, and secondly, you get immersed into it. Next is management consulting. It's again a very high paying job, but a very tiring job, very tiring job, but extremely rewarding. Forensics and risk, this is a fairly new area, untapped area, and that is developing in India, but in the West, this has already taken long strides. And the last is technology. We'll touch that last. Now, on the right-hand side, I have actually put some pillars, about various degrees, where these degrees can add a lot of value to these kind of professions. Chartered accountancy, of course, covers a major gamut. Okay, so all the way from statutory audit to valuations, and also management consulting, you can see chartered accountants working their way in. Then you have your CIAs who are doing very good in internal audit globally, all over the world. CIA is a very good degree in the field of internal audit. A lot of chief audit executives are CIAs globally. Secretarial practices, of course, company secretaries are well versed with that. CFA, another very well, it's a very well structured degree, as well as a degree with a lot of technical depth in investment banking, valuations, and portfolio manager. So a portfolio manager, mostly if you look at their qualification, most of them will have a CFA degree. In the West, mostly, or most portfolio managers are CFAs, but in India, I have seen portfolio managers with an MBA finance degree also. Statutory audit and internal audit also has certain aspects where CISA certification holders help the auditors actually carry out certain functions. When you come to number 10, we have forensics, and forensics is basically fraud, unearthing frauds in the financial sector. So this is a fairly new field. I mean, it's an old field, but of late, it has got a lot of structure when it comes to the practice of forensics as such. A lot of big fours have got their own forensics practice now, and CFA degree, a lot of people with CFA degrees are brought into this particular field. MBA, of course, is covering areas of finance, investment banking, mergers and acquisitions, valuation, portfolio management, management consultancy. But if you notice, I have put a small asterisk next to MBA. Now, the MBA is a degree with which a lot of people try to take it as a residual degree. Like, okay, if I'm not able to do anything, I'll just do an MBA. But let me tell you, you will not be happy with that degree if you don't do it from a very good institute. Like if you don't do it from a very good institute, you might not get into management consulting because you will not have that depth that a management consultant is required in major, forget about McKinsey, Bain, these companies, even the big four management consulting practices might not hire you if you don't come from a pedigree MBA school. Because it's very important to develop that case law cracking ability, which is taught in MBA schools for management consulting. Also portfolio management and valuations. This is it's got a lot of quant, that is a math. There's an element of math involved. Now, when I say math, a lot of people go back to the 10th standard trigonometry, derivatives, and find x and quadratic equation. No, like math, when it comes to math in the world of finance, it's basically advanced arithmetic. Okay, we have to embrace math. One thing that I have learned in so many years is always do good in math. Try your best to be good in math. Try your best to do good with numbers. Even if you're a doctor, even if you're an engineer, of course, I don't need to say, but even if you're an artist, if somebody is doing painting, try your best to be good with numbers. It will always help you in life. And when you are in a commerce field, all the more it helps you if you are good in math. Now, once again, I would like to reiterate, when I'm saying be good at math, it doesn't mean be good at, trigonometry and, I hope you're understanding. What is important is to understand what kind of math is involved, and you do it, and everybody can do it. All you need is practice, and all you need to do is to embrace the fact that I need to do it. Once you get that in your mind, you will start understanding that, okay, like there is math, I need to do that, and because that is what you want to do later, right? You cannot be a chartered accountant and say that I don't want to look at numbers. Then don't do it. Don't do it. You will be looking at numbers. You will be helping people with their numbers. But that doesn't mean somebody is going to ask you to go and total a dictionary in your mind and be like Shakuntala. Nothing like that. But just try to embrace basic mathematics and be good at it. Be good at it. Don't do anything, in halfway, just study something and then like, okay, because it's very easy nowadays to understand if a person is not well prepared to deliver. Because people are very smart, they are able to understand that. So when it comes to MBA, yes, there are certain, lot of MBAs make it to these very lucrative fields from number 6 to number 9. But again, as I've said, you have to be really good at it. Technology is a field where a lot of finance professionals are making its way, like SAP implementation. For example, manufacturing company needs a new SAP system. Okay, now an engineer might develop an SAP system, but to implement that SAP system in, say, Tata Motors, so they need to understand which number will come from where and how it will get reflected in the balance sheet, which process, at what stage process gets completed, what stage it moves from WIP to finished goods, cost has to be booked at what stage, and the whole system has to be set accordingly, when the numbers should flow, when it moves into provision, what numbers are supposed to be kept at what stage. You need a finance professional to come and help them out with the implementation aspect. A lot of SAP implementers I have seen in my field are chartered accountants. Now, I talk about chartered accountants because I work a lot with chartered accountants, that's why. But there are people from all these various degrees as well. In India, of course, ACCA is not taken because there's already taken a lot of pace, because obviously the heavyweight is the chartered accountancy degree. And since it's a degree that is instituted by an act of the parliament, so of course it will always hold its weight. But over here in the Middle East, I see a lot of ACCAs. And there is a lot of competition also, because a lot of people from other countries also do ACCA and they come over here. So that is one degree where, again, point number 1 to 5, you can see a lot of ACCAs work. Not a lot of ACCAs work in investment. At least I have not seen many working in investment banking and valuations. So these are various career options that you can take. Also, mind you, certain degrees like CFE or FRM, CISA, then CIA. These are slightly specialized degrees. Okay, they focus on their core subjects and on their core, if I can put it, strategies to execute a particular objective. Okay, financial risk management is risk management only for financial. Mostly banks hire FRM graduates, but these are degrees which have not picked up high employment in the Indian industry, but they have picked up employment opportunities in consulting firms in India, like practice-based firms. You will see the Big Fours or other consulting firms. They hire a lot of people having these degrees because they've got a practice. Okay, now as a CFE, if you go to Tata Motors or if you go to Asian Paints, they might not have, because they'll be like, our fraud risk is very much covered. So we don't want a full-time CFE guy sitting over there. And even if they hire, they might hire 1 or 2 or 3. Okay, of course, like bigger companies will go more, but then it's not a place with mass employment. Mass employment for these degrees would be practices who have got a forensic practice. Like Deloitte has got a forensic practice. KPMG will have a forensic practice. So they hire 100, 200 people. But in the West, there are a lot of banks and financial institutions where these degrees are. People do hire them with these degrees. The number of hiring is high in the Middle East and the West. Okay, in India, definitely it will pick up, because once people get more and more they get more exposed to these kind of degrees and their values, definitely people will hire professionals having these degrees. Moving ahead, I've got a small roadmap that all of us usually face. Usually if you are at your undergraduate level, there are some questions that you have, as in you don't want to continue with STEM subjects like science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So you're wondering what to do. If you're confused about which specialization to choose in, you're contemplating about taking up courses that your friends are taking. Okay, she's taking this, so I'll also take that. I'll learn other course. Everybody is going for nursing, so I'll also go for nursing. But the good thing about nursing is there are thousands and thousands of hospitals who are going to hire all the nurses. Now, there are not thousands and thousands of companies which are going to hire all CFE graduates. Okay, so you need to understand the market. You need to understand whether you want to do that degree. What is your plan? Okay, not everyone in the same network or interest level, even within the related field, they've got the same interest level. For example, I have done internal audit in Deloitte when I started off, but I didn't want to do forensics. Now, forensics and internal audit, they are sister subjects. Okay, a lot of forensic and internal audit practices used to be similar. It used to be the same practice, which they realized that, okay, the forensic practice is getting its own traction. So they will carve it out as a separate function itself. So they started having more forensic related assignment, forensic related graduates come and join them. So a person within the same field of work might not have a different interest, might have a different interest than what you have. Going back one slide, if you look at investment banking and mergers and acquisitions, somebody would like to do only sell side transactions. Means I want to sell a company, I will call a sell side advisor. Okay, Gabby wants to sell his company, Gabby will call a sell side advisor. Okay. But say, for example, there is a buy side advisor. Say, for example, I want to buy something. I see that, okay, this company is up for sale. I would like to buy. But before buying, I want to know how the company is. I want to know what the value is. Okay. I want to know what my payback period would be. I want to know if there is any problems, if there's some due diligence that I need to do over there. So for that, I need to call a buy side analyst or buy side consultant. Now, both come under mergers and acquisitions or investment banking domains, but there could be buy side specialists, there could be sell side specialists. And for all you know, these two friends could have graduated from the same college. They could have been in the same class. One life took him in the sell side practice, the other at the same time life took the other guy into the buy side practice. So he's a buy side guy. The person is a sell side guy. So even within the same firm, same practice, two people could have really different interests. The undergraduate level is the best time to decide, because you've got a lot of time to think and there is a lot of time for you to weigh your options. My dear friends, my last point is always plan for the next 2 years and always have a rough plan for the next 5 years. From my experience, let me tell you, there is no time to waste even for a commerce graduate. A lot of people think commerce, 11th standard, 12th standard, 3 years of BCom, and then I'll do my MBA, and then my father's brother is in Dubai. He'll get me a visa. I'll go on a visit visa, and then maybe I'll find a job somewhere over there. Somebody will help me over there. Somebody will help you over there. It means you are always thinking of somebody helping you, taking you somewhere. That might not work. That might really not work. Okay, and it doesn't work even today for a lot of people. So do not waste even a single day. Every single time, every single moment that you have, try to make the best use of it. Try to read and understand, because it's for your own good. Okay, so like I might sound a little blunt over here, but when you have got your parents with you, when you have a support system with you, it's very easy for you to take things for granted. But say, for example, you don't have anybody, so you are there only for yourselves, right? You are there only for yourself. How will you help yourselves? 2 years back, I was in Japan for a holiday, and I met a friend of my wife's, and we were having lunch together. And the lady told me that in Japan they have a saying. Because I asked her, how is it that Japanese people are so kind to each other? And the kindness that I experienced in Japan was phenomenal, like really out of the park. I asked her, how is it that the Japanese are so kind? Like across all the cities in Japan I traveled, everybody is very kind, over kind, super kind. I mean, it's like a different human trait altogether. And that's when she said something which, it got stuck in my mind. And even today, there are days when I just sit back and I think about it. She said that since childhood, Japan is an island. Okay, so way back in 1600s and 1500s and 1700s, of course, there is no technology. There is nothing, just traveling by boats and ships. And there is war all over the Far East. There was always war between Japan and Korea. So it was a country which was, typically it was an island with very little trade happening, or very less friendly trade happening. So they, and on top of that, there are earthquakes, the earthquake prone place. So they have been taught that we live on an island, and all that we have for ourselves are our own family members and our own friends and our own countrymen. Okay, so we have to, so that has been drilled into them, and it's a part of their DNA to help their countrymen it could be on the road, it could be, you know, to help somebody find a taxi for that matter, but it comes very naturally to them. Why? Because they think that it's only for, they don't have anybody else for themselves. Similarly, when you start thinking, take charge of yourself and you try to help yourselves, that's when you realize that there is so much that you still need to do. There is so much you need to study, that it's not going to get over soon if you keep wasting your time. So the undergraduate, if there is somebody over here who's in the 11th and 12th, because 11th and 12th, whether you like it or not, very frankly speaking, it's a joke in commerce. There is like hardly 2 hours, 3 hours of study and you can pass with flying colors. What are you going to do the remaining part of the day? You're watching TV, Netflix, Money Heist. What are you going to, like, what is happening? Like, you need to, you can sit down and do some research. What you're going to plan, you make a timeline. I'm going to register for this course. I'm going to move to this particular course at this time. Which companies hire such kind of people? Research, because most of the times you will start working on these courses only in your graduate level. Takes me to the next slide. Graduation, sorry. You have 3 years of graduation. What is happening in this particular silo? Some of you have selected a course and started working towards it. Some of them are still exploring options. Like, I don't know what's happening. What should I do? That is not good. Oh, that is very tough. Very tough. A lot of us don't take up courses because they're tough. If you want something like, I mean, even changing the tube of a cycle tire is difficult. If you actually think about it, it's not easy. It's not as easy as how it looks. Everything is tough. You can't do something very simple and be expected to be paid 55 lakhs a year. Nobody's going to pay you for something. You want to take up something challenging. Taking up something challenging won't work if in your 10th standard you have got 45% and you think that next year I'm going to come in merit and CA. That's not going to happen. You have to practice. One of my mentors we were talking about, this is an office, okay? We were talking about generally about life, and because he's senior to me, so I was talking to him and he was telling me how at my age I still have time. He's telling me, okay, which I was thinking that, oh my God, my time is done. You know, I'm 33 now. So you think, oh my, so he's like, no, a lot of time. And he's saying, we're talking about a lot of stuff like this. So he's telling me that, you know, to be happy, you need to train your mind to be happy. If you're always sad, you know, thinking that, you know, nothing is good, nothing good is happening with me, my luck is bad, I always have bad luck. And okay, so you're training your mind to be a sad person. You're a sad person. You're training your mind also to be sad. And you are so good, you have trained yourself so good that you're a master in being sad. Like, you can be sad just like this. Come on, be sad. Here I am, sad. You have to train yourselves to be happy. Similarly, you have to train your mind to be sharp. So a person who is getting 90% in his 10th standard, if you look at his history, he's getting 90% from his 5th standard. Okay, so that's why I say in your undergraduate level, it's okay. I'm not saying that people who've got 50%, 40% in 10th standard cannot. There are people, I know people who've got 60% in 10th standard, they've come in merit list in CA final. But what happened? CA final is 5 years. From year 1, they started training their mind to study, to spend time to understand what they are studying. Why is it that the thing that they are studying makes sense? Why is it being taught to you? Where it can be applied? Not just, you know, okay, a plus b whole square, a square plus 2ab, we just, but why a plus b whole square is, you know, what it is. Try to understand, try to sit back and think. Don't open the book, okay, I have to study, so I'm going to sit and study, I'm going to sit and mug up everything. No, understand why you're doing that. So in graduate level, now you're managing your graduation and a professional course in tandem. You're doing 2-3 things together. So this is where the thing, my previous slide, first slide over here. Yeah. See, multitasking, first year, pure manufacturing, at the same time, juggling college, CA class, CA articleship, second year of graduation. This is where you will start, getting a slight heat. You have to manage your college, you have to manage your classes, you have to manage your professional course that you are doing. Some people are adventurous, they'll take up a part-time job. It could be a part-time job paying a stipend of 3,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, but they want to study, they want to know what an invoice is. People have not even seen what an invoice is. At the same time, there'll be people who will go to class in the morning, then they will go to college, and then after that, they'll take their bike and they'll be roaming around all across Palarivattam and whatever is your hangout place in Kochi. So you understand how you are making time for yourselves. The person who's done that one day research is one day ahead of you. So he knows what he needs to do. I'm not saying that I've sat and done only this in my life. I've also had, but I'm just talking about when you look at it in hindsight, sometimes I think, oh, I should have taken those few days that I had in my hand. I should have done this or I should have done that. Research and understand the companies and work profiles that suit your background. That is the third last point. Make a list of areas that you want to work in. Talk to people who work in similar fields and get their opinions. The last 3 points are very important. And this you should do in your graduate level. 3 years you have got. 3 years. You've got 3 years to do. These are all research-based aspects. And these are not study-based aspects. All research-based. At night, you're sitting and you're sleeping, you're not getting sleep, you're looking at TikTok videos. I think TikTok is banned in India now, but yeah, whatever is the equivalent, Instagram reels. Okay, take 20 minutes. Take 20 minutes and read, okay, I'm doing my CIA. Which companies, what kind of companies are hiring CIs? Where CIs work? Are there any articles written by CIs? You read the articles, then you realize, oh, he's writing articles like that. When will I reach a level where I can write an article like that? What can I write an article like that? Will I be able to write? Can I write? Okay, the person is an accomplished person, but if I sit to write an article like that, can I even write 2% or 3% of that article? Because I have started, right? I know something. So at least say 1% of that article, can I write one paragraph of that? At least in an amateur way. Think about it. Make a list of areas you have to work in. Even within a particular degree, there are certain areas that you would want to focus to get into. It's very important. You will not know that such a thing even exists. You say, okay, I'll do my CFA and I'll apply for, say, a deal advisory practice in Ernst & Young, and I will get it. And then do what? First question the interview will ask is, what is your area of interest? What do you want to do? I want to do deal advisory. What deal? What is deal? Deal is buying and selling. Try to understand what the area has, what is there. You don't need to, at least this is just basic research. Try to talk to people. You talk to 100 people, 2 of them will talk to you. Talk to 100 people, 2 of them, 1 person will talk to you, but then that person is at least willing to talk to you. He'll tell you certain areas. Even if that person tells you something, at least you've learned something at the end of the day. You have done something. You have to be proud of that. You've done something at the end of the day. That is what matters. Next is your initial career. What happens over here? You've got a specialized degree acquired along with your graduation. Okay. You're very happy. You're a newborn with a graduate degree and some certification that you have got alongside it. Don't make salary your prime focus in the initial few years. You don't know anything, any practical aspect of the knowledge you don't have. Try to get in and let the job teach you initially. So don't look at salary immediately. If you're a fresher with no experience, definitely don't look at salary. If you are somebody like the person I told who's done a part-time job, who knows what things are, who knows what is in it, who knows what the job entails, this is a person who is well equipped to negotiate for a salary. Not like if somebody says, I'll pay you 6 lakhs, he cannot say, no, I want 24 lakhs. No, 6 lakhs, maybe he can negotiate to 6.5, 6.9, 7.5 to 7 max, 7.5, 7.8. This is not a person who can say 24, but at least he can open his mouth. Why? Because he's got some practical knowledge with him. He has hustled. That's a very Western slang word. He's hustled. This brings me to our next point. Try to understand immediately once you get the job, what kind of role you shall be playing in the company. What are your prospects? Will you be doing mundane jobs? Like mundane as in very regular kind of repetitive jobs. Now, once you get a job, life is set. Now I'll get experience and then I will become director immediately. Next day. Doesn't work. That is when the struggle never ends. Struggle is something that never, every day, everybody struggles. Before I was doing CA, I was struggling. The day I became CA was the most happiest day of my life. The second day after I became CA was the saddest day of my life, because then I had to face the question, now what? Next? What after this? Okay, I became CA. Now what? And the professor had told this to me. You will face this. And exactly like that. Second day after clearing my CA, I'm done. Now go look for a job. Go find out. Now there is nobody to help you. Now you're a CA. You've got a degree. You're a member of the institute. Find a job. Sell yourself. Find a job. Market yourselves. Once you get a job, you cannot just sit, because you have to find out what is there in the job. What happens in the job? What kind of places you can play a role in the job? Who is doing what job and what kind of projects are being handled by which person? Would you want to be part of that project? How deep is the project? What is the learning curve that is involved in the project? These are things your brain has to start now. The next course of the next list you have to start preparing, and you have to start implementing. You have to start taking an action on that. You have to evaluate if you need time to settle, to take up the next gear, higher challenge, assignment, maturity level. Do you have the maturity?
No.
Do you have the maturity to take up the next? Okay, like you got into a particular job. Okay, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you understood, okay, this is how practically exactly this is how things happen. Okay, then suddenly you see there is a assignment in your company from say, for example, Ministry of Finance or Ministry of Commerce. Big assignment your consulting practice has got. I want to be part of that. How? What do you know about it? You need higher specialized level of, you cannot be part of. Only these 3 people over here, they can be part. You cannot be part because you've not taken up or delivered. Then that's when your heart sinks. You're like, oh, I wanted to be part of that assignment, but I couldn't. No, you do that assignment first properly. Then I'll see if you have the maturity level to take up the next difficult task. So be good at your job, learn quickly, try to understand the work that you're doing, how well you've understood it. Take time, put time to read and understand it, do some research, because this research is only going to increase day by day. As you progress in your, so I said, take time to do something, so later on you can do it very well. Train your mind to do good research, so later on the research that you're doing for 3 hours, you will be able to do it in 1 hour later on. Understand the different facets of your own degree and its applications. A particular degree that you have acquired, not necessarily you will be sitting with horse blinkers and doing only that particular small degree. Your degree might help you branch out in different areas. Try to understand where it can branch out, because this is going to help you in your mid-career. That is the next level, next stage. I have a friend over here. He is a chartered accountant and a CIA. He started off, he was with me in Deloitte, but in the Chennai office. He was doing pure internal audit over there. He's now here in Bahrain, coincidentally, and he's in the internal audit practice. But see how life has taken him. He is the senior most person in internal audit practice in his company. The partner of internal audit does not sit in Bahrain, sits in another country. So basically he is the one who handles the entire internal audit practice. He's not yet a partner. So all the other non-internal audit work also comes to him, and he has to deliver that. Now he's leveraging his CA plus CIA degree to understand where he can branch it out. to a different dimension. So your own degree can help you in different facets. This you will not understand immediately. This will take a few years. So even if but just keep it somewhere in the back of your mind that this is something that will happen. And the earlier and the faster you realize it, the more earlier you can assimilate to that particular type of environment, which dynamically keeps changing. Lastly, identify a mentor. Very important. Very important to have a friend with whom you can talk to. Your friend could be a very senior person. Don't try to eat your friend. Okay, be a friend. Don't try. The person is going to be a mentor. Don't create issues for him. Don't create problems for him. Try to understand how that person can help you in your career. So please help me with the promotion. No, not like that. Not like that. Try to understand that this is a particular work that this is what I'm thinking. What is your opinion? In your experience, how do you think this works? Not necessarily he or she will tell you something that would be, something that you want to hear. It could be something negative, but at least talk. Try to network with people. Very important. Networking, I cannot emphasize it enough. Let me tell you one, this is an incident in my college. Of course, as I told you, in my college, there were really a lot of bright guys, and almost 65% of the college was doing chartered accountancy. No, I didn't even know that there is something called as a Big Four. Imagine, I didn't even know. There was nobody to tell me. Okay. Then I came to know that there is a Big Four. Then I wanted to be part of Big Four. But when I wanted to be part of Big Four, I didn't know that Big Fours offer articleship as well. So I was not aware of that. But guess what? There were friends in my college who knew that the Big Fours take up articled students for articleship. And they were targeting to get inside, say, PwC internship, EY internship, or Deloitte internship. They were like, EY in Pune is good for taxes, so I want to get into EY tax. KPMG was at that time good for internal audit. So somebody wants to get into internal audit. Somebody wants to be into audit and only audit, basically PwC and Deloitte. Right? I'm talking about back then. Today the scene has shifted, basically. They were working towards that. So when I cleared and then I'm going with my resume, I was late because these people had already networked with people. They said, okay, I'm going to clear in this particular attempt. Here's my CV. They had worked it out. Be fast, research well. People research. If you don't research, you're going to stay back. Next is your mid-career. Once you reach to your mid-career, what happens is, a corporate environment has helped you learn about structures, how you have to think structurally. You cannot just start off with, in Malayalam, there's a saying, my Malayalam is not that great, but I just try to put some punchlines here and there. So in your work life also, a lot of people do this. There's some meeting going on and some very important firefighting is happening, and then you come up with some loony idea. Structures, understand what comes after what. Like there are processes, there are ideas which are supposed to be structured, there are processes, what comes after what, there's a hierarchy, there is a particular system in place. The system helps you, it's an automated system. System doesn't mean software. I'm talking about the way in which things happen. There is a system. It makes your life consistent and easy because even if you have to get up from your sleep, you know how certain things work. A corporate life is something that has helped you tag along with individuals working together, towards a particular objective. You work together, some part of the deal you've done, some part of the assignment somebody else has executed, then you bring it together, you stitch it up together, you weed out the outliers. After some time, you're a subject matter expert in your field. If you've done your CIA, you're a internal audit subject matter expert. Once you reach a mid-career, you're talking with directors, you're talking with department heads directly, you're talking with CFOs directly. You're trying to understand how I can get that company's internal audit assignment. You're not thinking about how I will execute this. No, that is done by a person sitting over here. He reports to a person sitting over here. What is important at this stage? Managerial skills are developed. Solution provider. Don't be somebody who comes with a problem. I have got this problem. I have got that problem. The moment you come from the door, I know he's come with some problem or she has come with some problem. No. Come with a solution as well. You got a problem? Okay. Tell me some solution. Okay, a solution could not be final, but sir, I've thought of these 3 things. Is it possible? Okay, then I think, okay, this person actually thought of something. And nobody likes a deadlock. People want a solution, some kind of solution. This is very important. Now, a managerial skill, or to be somebody who is a solution provider, this does not come overnight. Once again, this is also to do with the same point that train yourselves. You have to train yourselves to be a manager. First manage at this stage, you are over here. Manage your own affairs. Make an expense sheet. At least you can start with that. Make an expense sheet. Petrol, 1st of January, petrol. Chicken burger, 20 rupees. This one, 30, 50 rupees. Juice, mobile expense. Okay, so today you spend 500 rupees. 2nd January, you spend, amusement park. This one, books you purchased, something you purchased, 200 rupees. So make an expense sheet. Try to understand where your own expenses are happening. That's when you realize, I've been making an expense sheet ever since I was a kid. And now it's a part of my habit. Manage your own affairs. It could be 2 rupees also, but put it on that sheet. You don't have to tell anybody. This is your own thing. You don't have to tell. This is, you're doing for whom? You're not doing it for your friend. Hey, see, I've made this sheet. Huh? You see, you also make something like that. No? He will do what he wants to do. You do. It is for you to understand. Your parents have given you, say, for example, a monthly allowance. Here, 3,000, 4,000 rupees this month is your allowance. For example, I don't know. You could be getting 20,000. You could be getting 500 rupees also. But whatever you're getting, try to, at the end of the month, are you in surplus, or end on the 20th, you have to go again, give me some more money I need. You didn't manage your finance properly. Yeah, if you're getting 200, then obviously you can't live. You have to, but you get my drift. What I'm trying to say is, you try to manage. You start over here. So by the time you reach here, that expense sheet grows into something bigger. Try to manage your own career, your own roadmap. Even in your workplace, try to understand what you're doing, how you're doing. Is your work getting over on time? The target is on 18th. So till 18th, I'm going to sit and work. No, target is 18th. Try to finish on 14th. Because on 15th morning, somebody will send you an email and say that 3 things are wrong. Please change it again. That is when you will get some buffer time. That's how you manage. And then you can make it to the 18th. Else on 18th, that is a deadline. People say there are mistakes, but now you can't change because the deadline is done. And then you will remain as a person who gave a bad report or a bad deliverable. Make time for yourself. When you take a U-turn, you make space for yourself, right? So that you don't go and hit the bump. So make time for yourself. Try to understand that, okay, end of the day, I need some time for myself to sit and understand what I'm doing, where I'm doing. I need time to do research. He's going to drink juice. Let him go and drink juice. He's going to, watch a movie. This week, I already watched a movie. 5 days a week, I don't watch a movie. There is a time and place for everything. Meeting the right people, right time is also very important. You have to practice to be in that particular peer group. Very important. Check this, big college dreams, and right next to it, I've written peer group. Top college, top peer group. 60-70% of the people in that batch are all chartered accountants. There's one guy who works for a sovereign wealth fund as a director at this age, at the age of 33. Imagine. That is the kind of networking you need to do, you need to have in place. Chance to leverage your career into bigger roles. So maybe you get an opportunity, you're working with a CFO resigns, you might get the opportunity because you've been working with that company for a long time. Leverage your role to a bigger leverage a career into a bigger role. Understand how your degree adds value to an organization rather than being a cost for them. You are one with the organization that you work for. Try to make money. Try to make money. Always try to make money. Wherever you are, whatever organization you are, you have to think how this is making money. Is this making money? Am I getting any savings out of this? That is very important. Evolve and adapt. The quicker you evolve, the quicker you adapt, the quicker the better it will be for you. Because a lot of people don't adapt. There are people still sitting with the Microsoft Word file. They will make tables in Microsoft Word file. And there will definitely be people in this group also who make tables in Microsoft Word file. Why? They are comfortable with it. They think that Excel, a lot of formulae. If you don't know Excel, first thing you should do, I should have actually put up a slide only on Excel, only on MS Excel. And you don't need to go for any, these are things that Excel and all, something you can learn on your own. I never went for any class. I learned Excel on the job, but I learned it fast. Take interest in it. Make an expense sheet that out of the expense sheet, make your own reports. You will understand, oh, every Saturday I'm spending on food. Food column expense every Saturday is very high. Oh, petrol expense for the month of Jan was very high. Why? What happened in Jan that I had to spend so much on petrol? I went for a trip over there. I went for a trip. But then next month also, month after that also it's happening. Then 3 times I've gone on a trip. I'm spending so much money on petrol. But by the time it's August, you realize outside food, your food that you're eating outside, you're spending a bomb. Then you realize, my God, almost 20,000 rupees for in the first 9 months I spent only on burgers and French fries. Where it could have helped you somewhere, how you could have saved it. All of you can open a Demat account and buy at least few shares with that money. And I'm not saying don't eat anything and be like a hermit in a cave. No, not like that. But a report always opens up your mind. It gives you a picture. It makes you think. You can continue spending the same money. Okay, but at least you are alive. You're thinking. The time given to me by Gabby is only 20 minutes. I have no clue right now because I cannot see the clock on my screen. It's on full screen. On 5:30 now. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. This is my last slide. Okay, just remember these few things. Associate with the right people and the right peer group. Very important. Just look around you. Look at your friend list. Look at your WhatsApp group. How many people have taken life seriously in that group? And you are one of them. If you have a high opinion of them, good for you. If you don't have a high opinion of them, believe me, there is not much you will be able to deviate from the, it's a sum of individual sum of its own. You will just be somewhat similar to what they are going to end up like. And I'm not asking you to be selfish. Don't be selfish. Never be selfish, because people can understand when you're being selfish. Don't try to associate with somebody just for, getting something from that person and then not even have the courtesy or the decency to be in touch with that person or talk to that person, or somebody helps you and then you're not even involved in it. Be a decent person, be a rational person. But always have people who value life and time and are doing something. And let me tell you, a lot of times people think that doing something means, oh, I'll do something when I become 27 or 28, 29, 30 means he's an uncle. In my age, a lot of people say, he's an uncle means, okay, he's done something. He will do something. I will also do something when I'm at that age. Today, I think I should have done something when I was 22. I should have started this when I was 22. I should have, taken these steps. Number 2, finish what you started. Have a goal and work towards completing. There will be a lot of upsets in your life. You will come across, maybe you're not understanding a particular subject. I had a lot of issues with costing in my CA. Very openly, I can tell that. I had a lot of issues. I was just not understanding it. And then fed up, right before the exam, I decided all my other subjects were good, except costing was something that I was not able to grasp. And then in the end, I decided that I will sit and practice every sum from morning till night. I sat and practiced, use a pen and paper and practice. I sat and practiced it, and I cleared my CA final costing with very good marks. I've never done costing after that, but at least I was happy. I scored good marks, and it's something that I did. It didn't come out of it didn't come out of luck. I worked towards it. I was happy. So have a goal. You've taken up a degree. Start. Oh, somebody else got some other degree. Somebody got a placement directly in Hong Kong office for 85 lakhs suddenly. Don't, like, you shouldn't convert in rupee terms, but at your age, many people will do that, and they will do it. Then suddenly you start feeling bad. Oh my God, what am I doing? Both of us used to go and watch that movie. Yeah, after watching movie, he'll go and sit at home until 2 o'clock in the morning. He'll sit and study. You went home and slept. You finish what you started. Life will take you, but you finish what you get. That degree in your hand. Very important. Get that degree. Don't lose hope. I can't. I don't have the capability. You have the capability. Everybody has the capability. It is the time that you put in. In the pamphlet that was shared with you, there's a photograph of mine that was taken sometime in June. I was weighing close to 13 kilos more than what I am weighing right now. Consistently. This is not a photograph that I want actually to be publicized. Gabby took that photograph actually. But in those 40 days, I lost 12 odd kilos. Why? Consistently getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now I'll sit and exercise. Every day I get up at 5 in the morning. And after coming to Bahrain, I've never got up at 5 o'clock. But last 40 days, it was my goal. I want to reduce. I want to come down to my ideal weight. Do that. Finish what you started. Have a goal and work towards complete that degree and kill it. Just kill that degree. Don't get passing marks. Like in CA, you have got like CA final, you have a threshold of 400. Don't think of 400. I will get 407. I pass CA final. Get 441 or get 439. That is like you're killing it. Like you've broken it. Like totally. Like you've made that. You've crushed that examination. So think about that. That I don't want to score. When you have that thinking in your mind, you will realize you will do so much better in giving that examination. Don't think that, I might not pass in this. No, I want to, I just don't want to pass in this exam, but I want to score high. Think about it like that. I want to score high. What do I do to score high? I have to take it to the next level. These 5 subjects are there. This is the time frame divided into that much time. Every subject, go deep into it, deep from morning. If you have to sit and study, you have to sit. What else? What other work you have? So don't study, sit and study. Because that is what is going to help you later on. 3, take stock of your progress. Understand where you are right now. These are things that I have spoken somewhere during the entire session. You will realize how I'm emphasizing weights on it again and again. See where you stand and what you need to do to move to the next level. Very important. How you will move to the next level, again, research. Try to understand, okay, I have done this. I've got a mastery over this. Next is I want to become a manager. What is the manager doing is managing assignments. Can I start managing? I can ask him, sir, I want to do this assignment. I'll manage this. I want one team member. Manage, deliver it, and give it to that person. That's when he'll get confidence. Oh, okay, manage this assignment on his own. Small assignment, but at least at his level, he did that. He was not supposed to do, but he did that. At your level, you're studying. So every few months, exam is in February 2022. Now, Corona, I'm sitting at home, new season is going to come for this particular, I'm going to watch that, chill, go for a nice, or modified my bike, modified my car, and I'm going to go for a drive to Munnar or wherever you're going. That can happen. That will happen all your life. There is time. But right now, today is not a time for that. Last is high performance, consistency, commitment, dedication, integrity, no slacking. Very cliched terms, all these are consistency, commitment, dedication. When you're sitting in a class, the professor also yelling, dedicated, be committed. But this is so important because you have to, again, practice. You have to practice your mind to do it again. You have to start with 1 hour. If you're somebody who just cannot study, there are people definitely in this group who just cannot study. No problem. Because you've never practiced. Since your first standard till your graduation, you've never practiced. You have to practice. You start with 30 minutes a day. Then next day you started 45 minutes a day, 1 hour, 2 hours. There are times, CFI, I have almost 17, 18 hours, 19 hours in one shot. I was sleeping at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was ruined my body clock because of that. Once I remember. So put in the time slowly. The more you put in your time, you realize that, oh, I've covered so much. I was not covering so much of work. Now you understand you've covered so much. And this same thing works in your work life also. The more quicker you finish your work, the more better time you have to take up more assignments and become a more productive person in your work life. And this is very important in finance and in commerce fields, because commerce field, see, work doesn't end. Okay, there is a lot of work that you can take up. Try to understand where you would be part of companies which have got operations across, maybe Poland and Netherlands and China and Singapore, and maybe a regional office in Bangalore where you're sitting. You would want to take care of entities in Poland sitting in Bangalore. And at the same time you're doing that, then somebody is not available. Then you say, okay, I'll take up the Hong Kong entity also. I will take care of the Hong Kong entity sitting in Bangalore. But then you should have practiced. Your manager will be like, you are not able to handle Poland. How you will handle Hong Kong also? No, if he understands that you've got the capacity to do that. Now, this is what a Big Four experience does to you. That's what, because a Big Four makes you do the job of 2 or 3 people alone. So today, I can take the load of multiple people together alone. I don't need help over there. So high performance, very good. And the last line, always perform and provide a clean work. You are commerce guys. You need to have order in your life. If you are accounting, you're an accounting professional, you're accounting for something, right? You're making a list. What is account? It's a list. Everything is in its place. Everything is in its ledger. Everything is in its particular. You have a journal entry for everything. You ledger, you've got certain books. You come home and you don't know where your wallet is. You don't know where you've kept your watch. Your one shoe is over here, other shoe is on the first floor. Take stock, you sit behind and realize where your things are kept, where it is going, how have you filed your papers, your certificates? Is it in a good order? If I tell you to give me your 10th standard certificate, which file, this file, that file, oh, it's in office, or it's in my father's office. You don't know what is happening. Birth certificate, are there? Sit back and think. Get a good grip on your own life. And what work you do, provide a very neat and clean work. Similar goes for your studies also. If you're doing a particular degree, see how you are able to break that degree into different subjects, how well you are able to study that. Study well, clear the exam, get into a good job, provide good and neat and clean work. Once you are able to do that, you've trained your mind to work hard, and you've trained your mind to work well, and a lot of other things will fall in its place. I will stop now. I will take question and answers, and it'll be much more better if we are much more interactive over here. Thank you so much, dear friends.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. So I think it was, though we exhaled time, I think it was very from the heart, and it was definitely very, very useful for all of us. Just before question and answer session, I won't take a lot of time. I would invite Kokila. Kokila, you're there?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes. Kokila, just share her story, her journey till what she's doing right now. She just started working, and we actually, after you complete your professional courses, we have a program called STEP. It stands for Skill Training Employability Program. So there in this program, we do a 2 months program wherein we get people from corporates, we do some training, and we send them for different interviews. And that is how Kokila joined with FedEx. She's yet to start her full-time job there. She's just started working. But I want to ask Kokila to share her story till this point. Just Kokila, just 5 minutes.
So I'm audible, right?
Yes, Kokila.
Hi everyone, my name is Kokila and I'm from Trivandrum. and I'm currently working with FedEx as an accounting process specialist associate. So I'll just share a little bit about my journey and how I ended up in this role. So like up until I finished my studies, everything had a flow, right? Like after 10th, I knew 12th and then graduation. And since I wanted to move abroad and, I want to get into a corporate and move abroad, so I knew I wanted to do something that had a global recognition, and I ended up choosing CMA. And after passing CMA is when the struggle started, because every company wants to hire someone who's experienced. Like for fresher, it is very difficult to land a job. Like if you don't know like how to apply or where to apply. And it was very difficult for me because right when I finished my CMA is when the pandemic started and everything was in a standstill. And that's when Logic helped me. Like I got a call from Lakshmi ma'am, and she informed me about the course, and I decided to enroll. And I have to say that's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, because the mentors and teachers, they are very helpful, and they're very knowledgeable. Like there's no spoon feeding here. You have to do your own work. Like until graduation, you might know what an investment report is, but you might not know how to prepare one in real life. And like this program really helped me to get the hands-on training that I really needed. Like when like I did CMA US, like when we do CA or CS, we might do articleship, but for CMA we don't have that. And I think that's why the companies are a bit hesitant to you know hire people who have done this course. And Logic Step program really helped me with that. And we were taught, not taught, but we were exposed how corporates work and how to prepare various reports and everything. And not only that, Step also gives us a hands-on training on softwares like Excel and Power BI, which I think is really important, because right now I really use Excel. I mean, in the job that I have right now, I really use Excel on a day-to-day basis. So we are given very good training in that. And not just that, there are sessions that help you to improve your communication. And with communication, I don't mean language, but how you present yourself, how you put across your ideas. And that really matters in day-to-day life, because nobody has the time to listen to everything. They just pick the points. Like people only look for points and like facts in our conversation. So like Step really helped me with that. And there were a lot of mock interviews and sessions with people from corporates, and that really helped me. And I feel like it acted as a confidence booster. And like after I finished the course, I was given an interview with FedEx, and after that everything was like magic, because right now I'm working with FedEx, and I really feel like this is the job that really suits me. Because there was a session where like the sir taught us, or like helped us identify the kind of job that will best suit us. Like different people have different capabilities or different interests, and it is very important that we understand what kind of a job fits us perfectly. And like after all the training and everything, and with the job, I'm really satisfied. And all I have to tell you guys is that if you decide to enroll with Logic, attend all the sessions and do your homework and listen to faculty's advice. And I'm sure all of you will come out with flying colors. So thank you.
Thank you, Kokla, so much. Sharon. So we have Sharon also. Sharon is actually now working in EY with their valuation modeling department. She also went through a similar process with Logic, and she was our own student. Kokla actually studied another place for a CMA. Kokla studied in Logic itself, and then she came in for the program. Sharon.
Hi, so myself Sharon Sabu. So am I audible?
Yes, Sharon.
Yes, okay. So yeah, as Kogla also said, after graduation, what to do was a big question in front of me. So opting a very normal course like a PG was not in my opinion. So I wanted something which was in a global recognition. So I chose CMA as my option, and it's all about like how much you put your efforts and how much you work hard. And if you work hard, you'll certainly get it, and you'll pass these exams. And after passing the exams, it's all about a job. As Abraham sir said, the day I passed the exam was the day I was happiest. And the next day was like, what next? What shall I do next? That was a very big question in front of me. So yeah, after that, from the first batch, I had a friend who was placed to Jordan, Anushka, and she said me, don't hesitate, just join this because you will get a good exposure. It's not about the job, it's about your career, not about the first job where you're getting in. So about your career, where you are going to, or what is your area of study, or what is your area of interest. You can identify those. So just get into this step, she said me. And I contacted Lakshmi ma'am, and hence she also said me, what are we doing, like what are the hands of training. And as Kabula said, like Excel is a very important area where we have to cover, and wherever we work, Excel is a very important part. And we were doing everything in Excel. Like I think it was my first time doing financial, means working on financial statements. And um, this actually helped me a lot in growing up. And moreover, the what students face is about they may be having this technical knowledge, but they don't have the confidence to communicate with people. Even I didn't have that confidence to talk in public, talk to a unknown person. Like I would shiver, I would face that hesitation, and I would move back. But from by joining this step, actually what happened is we had a lot of mock interviews. We had to communicate with people, and as we had an online section, what happened was we didn't know who was with us. Like we didn't personally know them. All we know was everyone was like this professional. That's all we knew about them. So communicating with different people and also from corporate personalities, we had a huge exposure, and this helped us a lot in in gaining so much from this step. So that this helped in my way to my interviews. This also helped me a lot. Like I could speak confidently to the managers who was conducting this interview, and hence I was placed in this one of the big four companies, EY. I am placed to the valuation team, and I have just joined a week ago. So I about the work I am handling. I'm also studying. I'm also going through the training. So that's it about myself.
Thank you, Sharon. Because of lack of time, we'll straight away go into questions. You can post your questions in the chat box. Abraham sir, a question. A student is doing his final year final year graduation mathematics. He wants to pursue SAME USA. Will it be difficult for him considering he's coming from a non-commerce background?
See, what actually matters in commerce is understanding your balance sheet and profit and loss accounts. Okay. Will you understand this in 2 days? You won't understand. Will you understand this in 1 week? You will not understand. Will you understand this in 2 months? Yes, you will get a good gist about what it is. Will it take you a detail for you to understand it in detail? It will take you some time, but you will understand it. But one good thing is you have done a graduation in math. Like I am presuming this person is doing BSc in math, perhaps. Okay. One thing you need to sit and introspect is, why did you do BSc in math in the first place? Why did you get into that in the first place? Okay. Did you have some goal in your mind at that time? And if yes, what made you change it to CMA in USA? CMA USA, you can do it. That's not an issue. Okay, but and understanding commercial aspects is also it's very intuitive. You can easily understand. It's not a big deal. It might not come to you as naturally as what a person from a commerce background will absorb on day one, or for 30 days. But after that, you will easily get it. But you need to put in time to do some preparatory study to understand the basics of accounts, to understand the basics of a balance sheet, how a balance sheet is made, how profit and loss is done, and how costing, what is costing, basically, what is analysis. So these are things you need to understand before you start.
I think some of the questions are coming in on the personal chat also.
Yeah.
They want to probably know an area about forensic accounting. Probably that's pretty much new for most of the students.
Forensic accounting, there is nothing called as forensic accounting. It's just forensics. Forensic accounting is not any type of accounting. It's actually post-mortem. You try to find out how the fraud has happened, basically. In short, I don't want to give long answers because we've exceeded a lot of time, thanks to me. But forensics is more about unearthing fraud. Like, for example, Satyam fraud. Okay, now the Satyam fraud happened many years ago. I don't know if all of you are aware of that. But now the team will enter to understand how this money was changed, how this money went into other companies, the route that the money took, offshore companies, from where some people, they even work with the police for that matter. Because mostly these frauds end up becoming police cases. And after that, they work with the police because the police they are not experts in this. So I have friends who are good friends with policemen also in this field. So forensic accounting is not accounting. You don't sit and do some kind of accounting. You try to understand it's basically a type of an audit, basically. But you try to unearth, you try to find out. In short, this is the gist of it. It's a very big field in its own right, for that matter. But it's a new upcoming field because of all the financial colorful methods that people use to swindle money. People also getting smarter in stealing money.
Yeah. Krista was asking, how should someone go about in switching their career fields?
Wow. So this is actually a difficult question, actually, not as easy as what it says. Switching your career fields is a very subjective question. Okay, now it's like I was an engineer and now I want to become a doctor. Like that, you're asking switching, or you're asking that, okay, I'm an internal auditor, but now I want to move into forensics. Now, as I said, these are sister subjects. Good. Once you do both of these, once you've cleared working in both these domains, you will have knowledge from both these places. Always if you try to switch your career, try to find out something where you have done something in the past, at least related to that field. It will help you in assimilating faster into the field in which you are planning to switch. Okay, like if you want to move from statutory audit to internal audit, okay, internal audit is something new, then okay, you've shifted your field, but still you are in line with the audit field. Okay, if you want to move from audit to tax, but if you have a CA background, it's still easy to move. Okay, this is a career switch actually, because like a person like me, I started with internal audit, then I moved into advisory, but I started taking experiences from all these places, and today I have my own practice, okay, my own consulting firm, where I get all kind of clients. So clients come and ask me, can you do this? I cannot say no, I cannot do. I mean, yeah, of course, if I'm not able to do, I'd flatly say, I know this is not my cup of tea. But of all the works that I have done, so I am doing tax, I am doing, say for example, advising them for management consulting. Okay, so I am getting different kind of assignments I am taking up to the best of what I can deliver. Okay, so your knowledge from different fields will help, but always think about the time you have and why you are switching. Don't switch because you have got a bad boss. Oh, this is like that. No, you should always think about if you're not able to do, or talk to people before you're switching. Because, and don't talk to similar people in the same group. Try to talk to different people. Go online and find people with whom you can talk to. You don't have to sit and talk to them about your personal life. Just be to the point, to the subject, and tell them that this is a problem. And say, can you please help me, guide me about this? People might want to guide you about that. There could be people you have to ask. But don't make drastic decisions just like, after putting in so many years of hard work.
Next question is, the person is doing SAP training, and he's doing his CMA course also. So will this complement during studies?
Yeah, so there is something called a SAP system implementation. Like a lot of finance professionals work in IT companies as system implementers. For example, I give you an example of one of my friends from college. She's an MBA in finance. After finishing her MBA finance, she got a job in Central Bank. Okay, and she was working in the banking industry for many years. Okay, many years means I'm saying say 4 years, 5 years or something. And central bank, okay, which is a government bank. Okay, after this she got a job in a very big IT company. Why? Because the IT company had got banking clients where the IT company was selling their softwares. Now they need a banking guy to sit with them to understand how to sell it to a bank, because the banking guy knows the problems that are there in the bank, especially a government bank. So she's now in that role where she's consulting banks and telling them how to implement the systems that the IT company has got to offer. Okay, so, but then mind you, then you are into that field. So you work in that field, talk to people in that field, what is required. Okay, but at the same time, also learn your own degree very well. Very important to, if you're doing graduation in commerce, be good at accounts. Be good at accounts. Try your best and be good at accounts. When newspaper balance sheet will come in the newspaper, you should be able to say, you don't have to show anybody. You should be able to read how a balance sheet looks like. Oh, this company is in profit. This is a diluted EPS. Okay. You should be able to understand accounts very well. Do one thing good and at least understand accounts very well. Very important.
Next question is it better to take MSc Actuarial Science for someone who's coming from a BCom background?
Actuarial science, see, first and foremost, I'm not a career counselor, and like I am not somebody who knows the ins and outs of all the careers. Okay, so I will not be able to give you very just explanations for all of this. But like if you better to ask me questions regarding corporate life, and so because that's the session, what a session is about. For degree specific questions, Gabby and his team can guide you better. Actuarial science, I can just tell you in super briefly, I'll tell you that actuaries is, if you are good at math, then you can go in for actuaries. You better be good at math, because actuarial science is something that it's a very high paying job. If you will not be unemployed. You will immediately get a job if you clear your actuaries. I don't know if the name of the degree is MSc in actuaries. I'm not aware of that, but actuaries per se is a very rewarding job internationally, but you have to be very good at the math that all of us are afraid of, that math, not the arithmetic math. Okay. So if you can take it up, well and good. There are multiple, I remember there are 12 papers or something. I don't know if it's the same even now.
Even statistics is considered. MSc in statistics also is considered for actuarial science. BSc and
Okay.
MSc.
Okay, I'm not aware of the eligibility and aspects, but you need to be good at math, basically.
Another question, again, all these questions are related courses and a bit of career also. Is CFA ideal for a fresher, or is it better to go after some basic experience in core finance?
So your CFA degree, if you pass your CFA, you don't get your degree immediately. You have to prove X number of years. I don't remember how many years, X number of years in a relevant field. Okay. So you cannot be an accountant in a hospital and then give the CFA degree and you'll get it. No, you will have to put in a few years in corporate finance and then the degree will be awarded to you. So it always makes sense to have a background in corporate finance when you're doing CFA. It will help you understand your own work also. But again, it's a degree that requires a lot of you have to work really hard. So you have to put in many hours. So you have to manage your time very well. It's a very good degree.
At times, when I look at opportunities, I might get some mundane or repetitive kind of jobs. Should I take it up in regard to experience, or should I wait and be particular about getting a really good profile? What is your advice?
Now it depends on the situation. Now you have to understand, if you have been unemployed for a very long time, take it up. Okay, take it up. Don't sit and wait for something great to come and land up on a plate. It doesn't happen, because if you have not been getting a lot of offers, or if you're not getting at least 3 offers, that means maybe you are not able to sell yourself that much. Okay. So take up what you're getting. If you're unemployed for a long time, if you think that you are able to really sell yourselves much better, then maybe you can wait for a few more offers. But if you're not getting anything, then I think you take it up, do the job. It's okay. See, mundane job is not a bad thing. Okay, you'll be good at that. You're practicing to be good at that. But you have to realize that are you going to be, say your job is, like a postman sitting and stamping letters. A postman also, okay, tomorrow I want to sit on the cycle and deliver letters. After that, he will dream, okay, I want to be the postmaster. Is there a career path? Are you going to do the same thing? Are you going to move to the next level? Does that company offer you something where you will be able to move? If not, then get in. If you have to get into it, but then look for better opportunities. But again, you should be able to sell yourself. You should also be able to prove that if you are somebody who likes to do only that, then you will only do that.
I think as a Keralite, everyone likes to go abroad. So the next question is, can you brief us about your experience in work culture in Bahrain?
Work culture in Bahrain is very nice. There is a lot of time for your own personal development, because everything starts at a particular time, ends at a particular time, and after that there's a lot of time for you to pursue other. But this is Bahrain. Okay, places like Dubai, it's not like that, because Dubai, you spend a lot of time in traveling. So most people end up reaching home at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. There's not much time. It's like somewhat like Bombay. Actually, it works for me because I came from Pune. Okay, I'm born in Kerala, but brought up in Pune. So difference between Bahrain and Dubai is the difference between Pune and Bombay. And I've worked in Pune and Bombay, both places. So it's a super fast life in Dubai. Bahrain is slightly laid back, but overall it's very good. But before coming to the Middle East, we should always think, as Gabby said, as Keralites, all of us want to come to the Gulf. Always weigh options, see what you're coming for. Okay, look at the job description, because many times job descriptions don't match the job titles over here. So you have to be very careful about what you're going to do.
Yeah, I think we have overshot on time.
I've got one question because the person sent it to me directly. That's why I take it. I'm completed CMA USA in 2020. That is 1 year ago. But I'm working as an assistant of an accountant for the last 1 year. Is this experience useful for the other organization? Yeah, why not? You worked, right? Have you worked, or have you just gone to office and not done anything and come back home? If you have worked, it will work. And if it's been only 1 year since you've done anything, 1 year is nothing. In fact, what could you have done in 1 year? Because you are a fresher, first 3 months, you must have not done anything. Literally, you must have not done anything. That leaves us with 9 months. 9 months, that too in a COVID situation. So what all do you have in your resume in the first place? So I would suggest you build up something in your resume so that you are able to sell yourself to the next organization. Put in the number of hours. As a young, I think everybody over here is 20 to 25 max, 19 to 25 max. This is a time you can there's a lot of time for you to put in the work. And people like 20, 23, 24-year-olds sitting and slogging. Let me tell you, managers like it. You will suddenly stand out. Because everybody knows this guy might as well, this guy should be, or this girl should be out, watching a movie, or maybe this boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm sitting there and working, and I appreciate it.